For our pumpkin muffins, we're going to start by lining our 12-cup muffin pan with a paper liner. My son is helping me do this here. And next, I'm taking a sieve, and in a large bowl, I'm adding 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour. You're welcome to use all-purpose flour, but I'm using whole wheat flour. To this, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, followed by some spices. So I'm starting with a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. And then I'm gonna grind in about half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. I'm eyeballing it here, but for the spices, you can adjust the flavor as you like. You can skip some or add more or less of one or more ingredients. So we're just gonna sieve all of the dry ingredients together and just give it a mix so that everything is well incorporated and well combined. And now we'll move on to our wet ingredients. So for this, in a small bowl, I have 2 tablespoons of flaxseed powder. I'm using golden flaxseed. To this, I'm adding 6 tablespoons of water. Room temperature water is fine, and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a mix so the flaxseed is incorporated with the water, and I'm going to set this aside. Now in a large bowl, I'm adding half a cup of oil. I'm using olive oil. I know some people don't like to use olive oil, but it's completely fine for this recipe. Followed by 3/4 of a cup of milk. I'm using regular milk, but you can, if you want to make this vegan, you can use almond milk for sure. To this, I'm adding a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, and then I'm using 1 cup of coconut sugar. You could use 1 cup of white granulated sugar, or half a cup of granulated sugar and half a cup brown sugar. And to this, I'm adding my flax and water mixture. And now for the pumpkin puree. So if you're making this from scratch, if you're buying store-bought, just feel free to use that. You don't have to skip all of this. But if you're using regular pumpkin, use the small ones and cut it into half and take out all the seeds and all the stringy parts from the pumpkin completely. Clean out the inside. And then we're going to put this cut side down on a baking sheet, and we're going to put this in the oven for at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 35 to 40 minutes. And when it comes out, a knife inserted through goes in really easily. It's completely cooked through. Let it cool down and then scoop out the insides and put it in a blender. And don't put any additional water and just puree it in the blender, and that's really it. That's your pumpkin puree. This will give you more than enough for this recipe, and you can save that for later. All we need for this pumpkin muffin is just 1 1/4 cup of the pumpkin puree. So mix that in to our wet ingredients and combine everything together. Now we're going to pour our wet ingredients into our dry. And we're just gonna mix all of this together. Don't mix it too much, otherwise it'll kind of be stiff. And once everything is folded in nicely and everything is mixed together, we're going to put them in our muffin pan, and we're going to put this in the oven preheated at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, reduce it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake it for an additional 20 to 25 minutes. And your muffin should come out looking like this. And if you insert a knife, or a toothpick, it should come out clean. And that's really it. I hope you enjoyed this really moist, fluffy fall recipe. And do give this video a thumbs up if you like this recipe. And please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And as always, say a little prayer and share the love. And I'll see you in the next video.